Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I am making banana bread, which is delicious. It's super moist and it's very easy to make too. I'm going to take you through the whole process and show you how you can make this with a hand mixer actually. So I'm going to start first with the bananas, and you can see that they should be brown, browner than you would think. That makes the best banana bread. It makes it super sweet, and the texture is also a little different once the banana has had a chance to ripen really well. So I'm using 2 bananas here, but you can see that they're pretty large. So you're looking for about 1 cup of mashed banana. So I just put it on a plate and mash it with a fork. It's pretty simple. And depending on how many, the size of your bananas, how many you're going to need is going to vary. So it could be 3. The large ones it only takes 2. So start mashing and see how it goes. See how many you need. And I always have bananas on hand and I let them ripen. And then I always make this banana bread once they are at the right stage. So that's a really good thing to do. And the rest of the recipe is really simple too. That's one of the reasons why I'm always making this, and I have a teenager and he loves it. So here I have 1 stick of softened butter. Make sure that it's soft. Mine wasn't as soft as it could have been. So you're going to see that it takes a little bit of time for it to incorporate with that 1 cup of sugar that I'm adding right now. So it's going to be with the hand mixer, probably take a couple of minutes, and at first it's going to look a little grainy, and it takes a little bit of time to let that go for a bit. If you have a stand mixer, you can use that as well. We are actually in our summer cottage on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, so I don't have a stand mixer here. I barely have enough room in the kitchen to have a hand mixer, so it's really a summer cottage, and we don't have a lot of space, so the hand mixer is what I have on hand. And if you have a stand mixer, you can use that as well. It'll probably be a little bit less work for you. I actually like to make this with a hand mixer though, because I feel that you can get into the nooks and crannies of the bowl that you're using. When you're using a stand mixer, a KitchenAid like the one that I have back home, you have to stop and scrape down the sides of the bowl and then keep going again to make sure that you're getting all of the ingredients. With this, it's a lot simpler. So if you're just starting out, maybe you're single or you just got your first place and you're learning how to bake, a hand mixer is perfectly fine. You don't need anything fancy for this. So as you can see, it's pretty grainy, and I'm going to keep incorporating the butter, and as the butter melts a little bit with the heat of the mixer, it starts to incorporate with the sugar, and that's what you're looking for. You don't need to cream this the way you would a cake. You can if you want to keep going. I feel that the texture is really good, even if you don't completely cream it. But you're going to see that the texture is going to change. So it's changing now. If you can see, it was a lot grainier before, and now the sugar is starting to mix with the butter. So that's what you're looking for. And then the rest of the recipe is pretty simple too. So that's why I'm always making this. The butter, I put it in the microwave for like 10 seconds per side. 10 seconds, do a quarter turn, and then keep going until you do 30 seconds or so seems to be enough for my microwave, but yours is going to vary, so watch it so that it doesn't turn into melted butter. So if you forget to take it out the night before, I tend to take it out the night before when I can, but it's been a little chilly here in Massachusetts, so the butter did not get to full room temperature for me to bake with. So if you forget to take it out the night before, you can do it in the microwave. Just make sure that you watch it and touch it after 10 seconds to see where it is. Do 10 more seconds and keep going like that until the butter is ready to use. You can also grate it on a grater, and that's the creaming that you want to do. You can see that it's not grainy anymore. It's all combined. So now I'm going to add 2 eggs, and you can see, oh my gosh, I look so dark now. The sun has been pretty strong. So I've been at the beach all the whole time that we've been here. So we spent the whole summer. So my tan is going. As you can see by my hand there, I'm usually not that dark, but I like it. During the summer, it's fun to change things around a little bit. So I've added 2 eggs, and it's pretty easy to just incorporate it. At this point, you can, increase the speed on the mixer. Once you add the flour, you want to stay away from that. Keep it on the lowest on just mixing because you don't want gluten to form. Once gluten forms, then your cake or your quick bread in this case, it's really a cake. It's not a bread. So that's the difference. It's an excuse to have cake for breakfast, which I am on board with. So now I'm adding 1.5 cups of flour. And I'm going to add now some baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, because we're going to use sour cream. So instead of baking powder, I use baking soda because of the chemical reaction that happens. And this is 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. If you use table salt, you'll probably use half a teaspoon because the volume is different. Kosher salt is very coarse as opposed to table salt. So I'm just mixing that in, as I said, on the lowest speed to make sure, first of all, that flour doesn't go all over my kitchen. But you also don't want to develop gluten the way that you do when you're making French bread or when you're making a white bread or something like that. You want the gluten, not with a quick bread. You want to make sure that it stays moist and it stays tender. And that really has to do with how much speed you use with your mixer. Now I'm adding 1/2 cup of sour cream, and that's one of the reasons why this is such a great recipe. I have been using this recipe, no kidding, for about 19 years now, and I started baking 21 years ago. I found this recipe pretty soon after I started baking, and now I'm using cinnamon, which is different. Most people add vanilla to their banana bread. I like to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, which is what I'm doing right now. I like banana and cinnamon together. I make banana fritters as well, and then I roll them in cinnamon sugar. It's the same kind of idea. It's a delicious taste. I think vanilla is pretty overused in baking, so sometimes I try to shake things up. There is, a place to put vanilla into your baked goods. If you're making a yellow cake or something like that, you're always going to use vanilla. But with bananas, I love cinnamon. And now, I mix that in, and I'm just adding the bananas that I mashed earlier. And I add that last because that really gets the texture to the right place. And as you can see, I'm going pretty fast with the mixer here, meaning that I'm not beating it up too much. And once you get around to baking, you get a feel for how much to use your mixer, and you'll compare that to how your baked goods come out. If anything that you bake comes out tough or hard, it's because you probably overworked it with your mixer. So, but you'll get a feel for that. That's something that everybody learns, and you only learn by doing. I can give you tips. I can tell you, don't beat it too much, but you learn by doing. And now I'm adding this to a loaf pan that I sprayed with Pam, or with cooking spray. If you use a different kind. I love Pam, and not the Pam for baking. I like the regular one. I don't like that one with flour, but that's up to you. So then I'm just adding it to the loaf pan, and I like to smooth out the top so that it looks nicer when it comes out. And that this goes into a 350-degree oven for about 1 hour and 10 minutes. Test it at around 55 minutes with a skewer. And now I'm cleaning up the mess that I made. Sometimes baking is messy. Test it at around 55 minutes, and then it can probably take up to 1 hour and 10 minutes. So in a 350-degree oven. So that's all there is to it. It's really easy, and the final result is right there. You see how nicely browned it gets, and that comes from using full butter. Some recipes use oil, vegetable oil, and those are okay. It makes a tender cake as well, but I really like the full butter taste. And it's very moist on the inside. It's delicious, as you can see from the thumbnail. You can see it cut up. But if you like these videos, if you enjoy baking and cooking, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. It really helps me out. If this is the first video that you've seen, I hope that you'll come back and you'll watch more. I try to post twice a week. Thanks for being here.